her on the other side?
'Cause
I mean, ours is really more of like what we gave her the grant for and the qualifications she's bringing to you.
yeah, and you had to
Align.
say the receipts, and if they have, I think, you know, she's just wondering, since she's going on with that, so I think maybe this getting this grant to help pay off, that she probably has to
Was that
wait
in the
longer
last-
to get the state one.
Yeah,
So she's,
Was that in the last minutes?
well, the grant
Or the minutes
application would
before?
have stated what they were asking
About
for
her
funds for. So we just need to make sure we're providing for funds for what they asked for.
It was just towards the construction.
just towards the construction bill.
Normally with like the storefront grant, it's a smaller thing, so we
It's a
wait till
business
they're
startup
done, but-
program.
Pardon?
She applied for the business startup program. She had the documents, rough draft of what everything was
started a
going to
business,
cost. And then she had her letters of support.
I don't understand that, quite what you said.
She applied for the business startup grant.
Yep, she's
She
starting.
hasn't started a business yet. She's
We're
in the
asking-
process of building a building that she'll be renting to her own business, but, or is renting the building to the business, a startup.
Where's the written agreement as to what we indicated we were gonna pay her for? Do we indicate that once she starts to build ground or establish
It
ground
It
that we're
just
going to
doesn't,
be?
We should have spent
it
more
doesn't
time on
say
this
that.
before.
Yeah,
We
didn't
still
have it
can.
specified.
I wasn't here at that meeting, but I think we need to table it and go back and, go by the business startup requirements and then what they were gonna use the funds for, because I'm not sure if our grants cover services.
But I wouldn't mind a special meeting for this, especially if this is like something that's gonna help her keep moving forward in building. So if we can get all the details to it, and how we align with what our policies and procedures are,
Grant is
but have it all
$10,000,
available
right?
directly and right away.
The
Okay.
grant is $10,000, right?
Okay, the purpose to provide assistance to new businesses or businesses relocating in the Washburn area to provide employment opportunities. Eligibility, any new or relocating business in the Washburn trade area where the applicant can provide supporting data to indicate that the establishment of their business will be beneficial to the community of Washburn. And it just says, maximum, it's not to exceed 10,000.
So what specific, I still think we should table it. and get
Absolutely, I absolutely agree. We need to table it just so we can make sure that we're aligning with what we had set forth.
The other grants that we've approved, we had specific proposal of exactly what they were gonna use the funds for. So if we don't have that, then we should get a list.
Want a written
We would have
indication.
had
Mark?
that with the old one, but
I'll
now you
second.
changed it.
The motion to table it.
Awesome. Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Who did the first motion?
Mark?
She
I
seconded.
second.
Oh, you seconded.
I did.
apologize. Can we make sure that we have a follow-up within a week? Like at least some good details and direction on what we should do? That would be great. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. We have a speaker, Melinda Padilla Lynch, Community Development and Engagement Benefits, Available Grants and Financial Programs. She will be sharing.
I'm going to grab the chair because I feel like I'm gonna get animated and not that all. All right. I made a few copies, but these are your guys' copies. You're more than welcome to make more copies, or I can send a hard copy.
Isn't that, it's
It's,
2 pages?
I think there's 2
Oh, I'm
pages.
sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
We can share one here.
Sure.
All right. You guys here. I didn't know how many copies to bring. Again, my name is Melinda Padilla Lynch. I have the pleasure of coming and speaking to you. I have the connection with Strength and Indy, and they connected me with Donna and Rhonda, and Rhonda and I have been to a few meetings together. I work for the state at North Dakota Indian Affairs. I've been there since April, and previously I worked for the Department of Commerce for 2 years. This is me. If you see me, I like sparkles, but if you see me at home, on my house, you'll see me, I look homeless. I work from home hybrid, and I work 2 days a week here, and then in 3 days a week at the Capitol. So I'm in and out. So we originally moved to Bowman from Kansas City. If you can imagine living at a 3.4 million to Bowman. Had no clue what we were running into. I will be honest, I cried my whole drive on Highway 12 because they have radio stations. And then they had turnoffs for Laura Ingalls' house. And I'm like, I'm going to Little House on the Prairie. Where's my husband taking me? But anyways, we were definitely a part of the economic downfall that hit the rest of the country that you guys had no idea about. And we had no idea there was oil here. So we moved to Bowman in 2011 on Christmas Eve. It was a whirlwind for me and a complete culture shock. At that time, I was one of the few brown women in town. And they were, at that time, terrified of anyone from out of state. They told me, don't go to Dickinson. They have out of state people there. And I'm like, you mean me? So it was very much a culture shock. I'd never been to a farm before. I grew up very inner city. So I got to go to rodeos. That was a whole, down there, that's a very big deal. So I worked for our city government for 6 years. And then I went over to state government. I've been with them for almost 3 years. Like I said, I just took over a new role. I was with the Department of Commerce for 2 years. I was in community engagement and development. And I had 6 communities under my community profile that we did placemaking planning projects, which is really, really fun. And then I had 4 Main Street communities I worked with. And then I was also on the governor's initiative for the Main Street Initiative Conference for 2 years. So also I graduated from the North Dakota Women's Business Center's leadership program. They don't have that anymore, but I've been very much involved with them. And then I graduated from Change Network back in 22. And then also 22, I graduated from the U Mary's leadership program. So I've been very busy getting to know North Dakota. I will tell you, it took a long time for me to fall in love with North Dakota. It took me 9 years to kind of really feel like this was home. It's been an evolution. Because it was a whirlwind of like, what are these people doing? Everybody's related. Like we were talking, I think the lady at the front desk. And just getting to know the dynamics and the nuances of how a small town works. I never lived in a small town, never really even visited a small town. I didn't need to. I mean, I had 6 Targets within like half a mile from me in either direction. I went, Walmart's, everything I needed. I'd never needed to leave the city. So this has been a working environment of learning to love North Dakota, but learning to love rural communities. A little bit about who we are as a family. I have 2 boys, Ezra and Lincoln. My youngest is Farrell. I'm just kidding. He's very cute, but he's very wild. Again, I work for Indian Affairs. This is an organization I started back in 2020. It's a nonprofit that works with law enforcement. And so I was the founder, the board chair, and the executive director as of last week. I'm officially done. I passed on my torch. 5 years running a conference, hiring speakers, traveling. It's been a great experience. I get to go to Wisconsin next year and Minnesota to speak at some conferences there. But it was time for me to give up that leadership because I don't work in law enforcement anymore. And then also we own Clover Construction, which my husband got to know Mark over here with that. And then I own a consulting company. Originally when I started that consulting company, I started a podcast where I interviewed women who moved to North Dakota and why did they stay? The Modern Pioneer Woman. And then also I started a transplant group for women where if you're new to town, how do you navigate? Because that's really hard. I don't know if any of you have ever moved to another state, but moving to another state where everybody knows each other is very different than moving to a big city where it's easy to plug in. With that kind of took a different direction than what I originally started off with, is that I started consulting for Region 3. So not only do I have 2 years experience with working with commerce and community development engagement, but this really catalyst pushing my love for rural communities. So Region 3 is like six counties. It's like Eddy County, Langdon, Langdon, Dunseith, Devil's Lake, that whole region. And so we have a year-long program where we help them attract new people to their communities. And so I have a film crew that I work with INDAC, which is Mark's son. We pull data to find out where they're coming from, and then I interview a lot of people, and then I gather insights to what's their pain points, what's their weaknesses, what's their strengths. So we're going to go really quick because I only have 12 to 15 minutes to go into community engagement. But you're probably questioning, why did you move to Washburn? You got to move. I could move anywhere in the state I wanted. Of course, with Indian Affairs, they asked me to be more central. They asked me to be within 60 miles of the capital. So me and my husband went back and forth. And he goes, where do you want to move to? And I said, well, I know you don't want to move to a big city. Bismarck is out, and I'm willing to commute because I only have to go in a couple days a week. I said, but you need a lumberyard. You own a construction company. So I know, looking at all these facts and data that I pull for community development, I had two options within 60 miles. They had lumberyards, grocery stores, and it was either Linton or Washburn. So we went and explored both towns, and I'm really big on like, what does your town look like? What does it feel like? Do I feel comfortable as a brown woman that you don't know? Do I feel comfortable sitting in your coffee shop? Do I feel comfortable letting my kids run down your streets? Do you take care of your streets? What does landscaping look like? What does your home developments look like? Is there growth? And so that's part of the reason why we chose it. Location. We chose it not only because it's in between Minot and Bismarck, but it's right off the highway. We also chose it because it's safe and it's clean. I drove down the main street from the highway and I was like, people take care of their homes here. And you see that pride. Also, the grocery stores, the lumber yards, the gas stations. But the other cool thing that was really cool is that you guys have amenities for young kids. Like there's soccer and taekwondo. And having young kids, I was like, that's really nice. Because in Bowman, kids really can't do anything until 4th grade. And then that was a really nice amenity. And we homeschool our kids. And so you guys have a really, really active homeschool group. And I will say this. You guys don't have a weird stigma with homeschool in this community. You guys have a lot of homeschool group people in that. And that was really nice to hear when I introduced myself to my neighbors and they're like, oh, your kids attend. I'm like, oh, we homeschool. There was not this weird like, oh, why? It was very welcoming. The other thing I will tell you too is when we moved in, we are renting the home right next to the Finger home. I know that everybody knows that's Obi's house. Oh, that's Obi's house, Obi's house. That's how small towns go. One of the things was my neighbor came over and invited us for a barbecue within the first week, and we got brownies the second day. That is what small towns are supposed to be. We never got that in Bowman. Never. So it was so weird for us that even my husband and me sit back sometimes and we're like, they're like nice here. Like it's weird. It's like weird nice. Like we're like waiting for the other shoe to drop right now because we're like, okay, we know how this goes. Like we lived in a small town for 13 years. We're waiting. Like, is there gonna be some weird thing that jumps out? But it's so weird to be in a community where that's where you picture small town to look like. You picture community get-togethers. You picture someone knocking on your door saying, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. And you actually got it. And it's such a nice feeling to have.
Can you just do a commercial for us?
Sure, I sure can. So in those sheets, this is the 5 things that I look at when I go into community. What does your art look like? What does your commerce look like? What do your people look like? Do they know your history? Do you know your history? Are you proud of your history? What does your commerce look like, and do you have a mixture of both businesses? I go further than that. I look at your housing. Do you have a mixture of housing? Do you have really nice housing, low-end housing, medium housing? You have to have a mixture of all 3 of those to really have a really well-balanced economic system. So I pulled your stats. I will say in the last 20 years, only a handful of communities in North Dakota has grown that were under 10,000. 93% of North Dakota is rural communities, 2,000 and under. To say only like 2 grew in 20 years is really sad. So I will tell you, who is your neighbor up north? They grew. Garrison. They went from 1,300 to 1,462. They, to me, are your sister city. Castleton, Horace, Lincoln, they're kind of the ones that sit outside the bigger cities, so they're going to grow. That's a given. But here you have interesting, of course we all know Wofford grew. Wofford grew tremendously because of oil. Stanley grew quite a bit because of oil. But Garrison, to me, is your sister city to watch. They have the same amenities. They're right on the river or the lake. They're right off the highway, and they're similar population, but they grew. Also, the median age of North Dakota went down with the oil boom. It used to be age 54 was your median age. Now we're at 36.8. So now I'm an old lady, to be honest. But your guys' median age, or you guys are at 36.8. Average median age is 35. So you guys are actually really average for your median age. You guys have actually a lot of young people in your communities. So let's look at median age of population. So you can just see this is your growth. This is where they were at. And then this just helps you with a visual of seeing where that is. So you guys went down a little bit and they grew a little bit. but you didn't have significant, like massive changes like some of these communities. So in Bowman, when I first moved there in 2011, we were at 1,900. When I left there in July, we were at 1,400. 500 people in 13 years is a lot of people for a small town to fill. That's a big, like if that was in Bismarck, it'd be like, nothing. But 500 people for that size of a community, you felt it. And then the other thing goes with, it's housing. Okay, well, if 500 people left in 10 years, why is there no housing? One of the things I find very interesting for you guys is that you guys have housing being built in city limits. You guys have houses actually built in city lots. Me and my husband worked for construction. We know this. I worked at the city. I know the stats. They have 61 empty or abandoned homes in Bowman. That's their dirty secret. But they also have not had a new home built in city limits in 10 years. Why? That's my question always to them is why? So here's some of your assets. I'm very visual, I'm ADHD, so I'm hoping you'll follow along with me. Your location, right between Minot and Bismarck. You have the river, or the lake near you. You have the river. You have railroad. You have gas. A lot. So if you go 50 miles east, they don't have gas. One of the main things that communities that are wanting manufacturing to come in, and organizations that are looking at them, where's your gas? You have railroad. You have water with your sewer capacity. So you guys have two big ones right here, railroad, and you have gas, which is really rare for the middle part of the state. You guys have a grocery store, and you guys have highway access. Those are really great assets that you guys have. So, this is just who I am. I drive around a lot, look, go through back alleys. You guys have a lot of empty buildings. What are you gonna do with those empty buildings? So here's some ideas for you guys that I think are really fun that you can get communities involved in. Dream tours. What you do is you take a tour, you provide a meal, always provide a meal. That's just my tidbit to you guys freely. Always provide food. And have people walk around and go in them and say, you know, I always pictured this building to be a really cool, like, indoor playground. Or I really pictured this as a really cool, you know, like, arcade or something like that. Give them Post-it notes and let them put them on the walls and let them dream. And then you kind of come together and you let that see that. And then maybe there is some way that you can work with someone to get in there and say, hey, we have this building. It is perfect for this. The other thing is feature local artists. I will be honest, I don't see a lot of art here. Like murals, where's your local artist? Have them do like a pop-up for a month. One of the cool things that Beach does is they feature a different local artist in their city hall every month. And then they rotate it out. And I thought that's a really cool idea. Beach is relatively same size as you guys. So here's some opportunities. We never call them challenges. We just call them opportunities. One of the things is hotel. You guys are right off the highway. Would love to have, like, I think you guys are made for like an Airbnb, or you guys are made for a bed and breakfast. You guys are right, have river access, you're not far from the lake, right off the highway. An excellent RV and campground park. This is like the edge of playground area for outdoor activity. Signage. That I struggled with that. I was like, where are we going? Where's our downtown? Where's this going? I know we've already talked about that. Art. Where's your art? Who are you proud of? What tells me about what you're doing? The other thing I asked is, what is your purpose of your downtown? One of my questions I always ask a community when I go in is your downtown made for locals or outsiders? And if you want outsiders to come to your downtown, how do I know that? Is there greenery? Is there a unified look? Is there a place for me to sit? Are my kids gonna feel safe? And to me, when I look down this, there's not a unified look. Coffee shop. I know there's one in the church, but not everybody feels comfortable going into a church. Anytime I go to a small town, I hit that coffee shop. Because I will sit there and I will work for an hour and I will hear all the buzz, what's going on in that town. You wanna know what's going on? Go to some old man coffee shop and you'll hear all about it over that 50-cent coffee. Car wash. No car wash. Laundromat. I know there's a laundromat here. Has anyone been in it lately? No? Yep. You need a nice laundromat that feels safe and clean and you want to walk out of there. Outdoor supplies, you guys are right on the river. If I wanna go fishing and I'm from the big city, I need supplies. Also, outdoor recreational stuff. And then you guys have a really phenomenal trail system that goes all along this community. You don't know it unless you live here. It's really nice. And that park that's right by the river, that's really nice. So, one of my favorite communities to kind of showcase to is Minot. Everybody's like, oh, Minot's a dirty town. But their downtown is coming alive. They use their alleyways. They do hide and seek art in their alleyways where they'll hide little figurines or they'll paint stuff on the walls. They have unified trees. They have unified flowers. They have benches. They have trash cans. That's a big one. And they're really good at multi-use buildings. Buildings on the lower end, apartments up top. You gotta use those apartments for housing because everybody in the whole nation is struggling with housing. 3 biggest things I hear about when I go to any community. We need workforce, we need daycare, we need housing. 3 big things, that's universal. Oh. So the other thing is, you guys have your own slogan, and the city of Washburn has their own slogan. Is that correct?
Not supposed to.
So you guys' slogan is where the
History
west
design.
history and then going to the future of business, correct? Or future of something.
No, I don't think so.
Where history was made and your future begins.
Yes, something, yes. And then Washburn is Washburn on the Missouri River.
They're supposed to be the same.
Okay, so that's what I was finding when I was digging around, trying to find this, where's the unified front? And I was like, well, Washburn on the Missouri River just tells me where you're at. It doesn't tell me who you are. So here was just some chat GPTs. I know you guys are going to go to AI. I use AI for everything. But here's just some ideas. Washburn discovered life on the Missouri River, connected by community. Like, start thinking about your story. Who are you? What do you want people to know about you? That's the thing, is that when I go into communities, I want to know who you are, what do you want people to know about you, because if not, I'm going to make my own narrative of you. So when I go into like Munich, North Dakota, have you guys ever been to Munich, North Dakota? I love Munich. Munich's one of my favorite communities to go to. 400 people, but they have more transplants per capita than any other community in Region 3.
Oh, yeah. 3.
Yep.
Not here.
So, again, this is really fast. I got 12 minutes to go with you guys. I want to honor your time. Resources. Strengthen ND has a really great community creative grant that opens up in April. A lot of money there. If you guys can get unified as an organization to know what direction are we going, what do we need, how can we do that? That's what I would really encourage you guys to look at some of these grants. The regional, they call it RWIP, the Regional Impact Program, and the Rural Capacity Building, those are future ones. We do not know what the new legislation is going to do. We hope they give Commerce some money. Let's just be honest, I don't know if they will, because new leadership may take a different idea. Revitalizing Rural, they're a really great group. They help you with grant writing, they help you with marketing. They're based out of Hettinger originally. The Main Street Vibrancy Grant, those are like $1,500 like mini pop grants. USDA Rural Community Development Initiative grants are really good. If you guys need a contact there, I can give you that. And then one of the other things I really encourage you guys to do is community impressions. NDSU does a really cool, where you do an exchange privately, kind of like your mystery shopping with another community. They come here, you go there, and then you get to say, oh, I noticed that you have this, or I noticed you have this. And then you get to stay in their town overnight and kind of get a mystery shopping, kind of like what I get to do. And then you exchange it with the same size community as yours. So you're not going here and being like, going to Fargo and be like, oh, it's so cool what they have. No, you're going to another community. So other communities, I would think that's your comparable. Oaks, Langdon, Garrison, those are your comparables. Those are the ones that are kind of have highway access. They're 60 miles from a big city, but you still have all the amenities.
Tanner, what community did you do that with?
I was just thinking.
She's
Did you
why
go
do
to
you think my hands in my
Cavalier or
head?
something, or?
We were set up to, we never did it, we were
Oh.
set up to do it with,
Ellendale or?
Was it Enderlin or?
Yeah, Ellendale would be another good one. But
I think it
Melinda, I
was
was gonna let you
Ellendale.
know that RWIP grant, that's what the new daycare building.
yes,
They
yeah,
got
I know
that,
you
so-
guys have that, yeah. Region 3, or regions, you guys are Region 1 to 7, their funds are completely eliminated for this last round. But yeah, if you guys can keep an eye on that one and think about it as a group, as a betterment group, and know your vision. So my question to you guys as we end is, what's your unified story? I know you guys are a branch off the city. What is your unified story?
So that's, all these grants are great, and I used to be the economic development director, and everything is great, all this money is great, it's out there, it's just, you gotta come up with a plan, what is the vision, what do you wanna see, and we always got caught at that.
Yep.
The plants, everything on Main Street's great, but what do we want?
So to direct that, and I apologize for cutting you off, but to direct that back to this table and who's currently in it, which hopefully, we're looking for new members, just to put that out there. We are looking to vamp up the community. We are looking to vamp up the development of businesses and bring in new businesses, and to really have that unified story and to be on the same team is definitely where.
Do you know your stats as a community? Like, do you know what your school enrollment is and your water capacity? And like, that would be the other thing too. I would encourage you guys to gear up. Like, my next thing for you guys is think about hiring either a contract or a temporary employee with next year after like the state legislature gets done and they'll see some of that funding to really help you with finding out what is your assets, like, and breaking it down so that you can, when those RFPs come out, those requests for proposals from community businesses, like say a community business wants to come in and say, I want to build a factory here, I need 20 employees, but I need water capacity of this, I need sewer capacity of this. Do you know your stats? That's the main thing, is knowing your stats, having it ready to go, and having that data, and having it updated every, I don't know, maybe a year, but knowing that, and also having someone to help you apply and look for grants. I mean, that's a lot of work all the time, because I have people all the time asking me, what grants are out there? And I'm like, okay, hold on. Like, but that's time that someone's giving to you as a gift to say, these are the grants are available. Then you got to have someone applying for it. Then after that, you have to have someone that implements it. Just like this young lady, whoever this is, applied for this Main Street grant. Now someone's got to actually go back and make sure those receipts are there. Have you followed through, all the check and balances of those things. I would also run a survey for you guys. This is what I would start with. That's easy, low-hanging fruit. Run a survey and ask your community members, what do they see? What do they need? What do they want? SurveyMonkey's $100 a month. Also, strategic plan with the city of Washburn. That would be the next thing I would think really is a big one for you guys, is doing that. And then developing a clear story and a showcase of who your community is. I mean, I think that unified front for you guys, because when I went to your guys' websites, it was really hard to manage. If I didn't know these terms and knew how things flowed, I'd have a really hard time managing are you guys your own entity, but you're over here? And then like I said, I found 2 slogans. So I was trying to understand the unifiedness. So again, I come in as someone who likes this community. We chose this community. It's been such a great experience for us. But I also come in with a lot of experience of knowing what do companies look for, what do they need to ask for. You guys have a lot of assets, a lot. But I almost wonder, do you know how to tell your own story? And that's what I'm really excited for you guys, is because you guys seem eager and it seems like you guys want to tell your story. But I think, like you said, getting on that unified front of who are we? How do you honor the past, honor your progression, but leave a legacy? So that's my thing for you guys, is what legacy are you leaving for this next generation? Because really not about you guys. You are thinking forward, thinking for your next generation, so that they can continue that legacy for you guys. I appreciate your time. You guys you can get a hold of me this way. I have my business cards. I have my work cards. I live right by the funeral home. Just let me know if you're coming over so I get some clothes on, because I do look homeless when I take out my trash. But it is an honor for you guys to live here. I really do like it here. And you guys have really done a really nice job with your community. So I thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you come back every month?
Just to get you hyped up. Yeah. I have to be really careful. I have to slow down, because the native community, you can't talk really quick. That's just, it's not part of their culture. So actually, I start my public speaking class in Fargo next week to help me start slowing it down and taking a breath. Because when I get really excited,
I think it's
You're gonna-
good.
You're gonna go to Fargo to learn how to slow down?
Yes!
Are you realize Fargo does speak considerably faster than anybody this far?
Yeah, they actually have a really great public speaking class with Dale Carnegie,
Oh, okay,
so,
just because, yeah.
no. Fargo's not my favorite community, I'll be honest.
I'm gonna say something, Melinda. Everything that you had up there has already been discussed on the table.
I bet.
And with your energy, that energy and is expertise, and people that there's, collective of us that are willing to go that way. I think it's getting the collective in that, and then also figuring out other dynamics of this group to help see it through. But everything on there is something that has been touched on or talked about, not the gas and water. That's a whole new subject that you brought to me, but down to the RV, down to the hotel, down to the empty buildings, and that is so much more of a discussion on why we're a little stagnant. But I would love to circle back around with you.
Yeah, we could talk about further stuff.
Absolutely love to, and anybody, I guess, that wants to join, like, I love the inspiration and feedback. I'd love for you to come monthly and, tune in anyways since you're a part of the local community now, if you want to give
Yeah, we
any.
own a business here. And that was my other question. You guys have a business, I saw membership, but what do you
Yeah.
get? Like, if I pay a fee, what is my exchange?
I think we're still working on having the follow through, and there's a lot of things up.
Because you guys are running kind of like EDC and chamber. Like, you guys are kind of running those hats, which
Mhm.
most small towns, you got to wear, like, your mayor's doing this and, like, wearing multiple hats. Everybody's wearing 7 hats.
Yes, very
And so,
true.
like, but you guys are running more like an economic development and chamber, the way you guys run events and you're running businesses.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, that's where there's a lot of confusion because, like, you're trying to be everything to everybody and you can't be. And it's really hard because then you have this awkwardness of, like, who's going to do it then? Who's
Yeah.
going to do it?
Well, I think when you come to this table and you want to sit at this table, I think that we all have to have the willingness to do it, because why else are we sitting at
Right,
this table?
exactly.
Yeah. I know later on I'm gonna have a bunch of questions. My brain is going a million miles per hour right now with all that information
But I
you
think
gave.
it's good for a community here. Why does a new person want to move there?
Absolutely.
And what made you choose it? What did you see, but what you don't see? What is it you need that you're not getting here? Why do I have to go to, we didn't get our washer in for 3 weeks. So why did I have to take all my laundry to Bismarck, drop it off at the laundry place there, spend a fortune and pick it up because I didn't have time to sit at a laundromat in Bismarck. You know what I mean? Like,
or sit here, but that's a whole nother can
that's
of
a whole
worms
nother
open.
can of worms,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we could. I'll definitely follow up. Anybody else that's willing to?
Yeah.
I would love to follow up with you. I thank you for giving us all of that knowledge and feedback, and I love it. So anytime that you want to present, or poke at us, or be like, hey, come on, guys,
Yeah, I mean,
get
I've
that going.
I sent quite a few stuff to, to Donna over here.
I'll make
and-
sure you get my email.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see
And
it.
there's grants that come up, but at the same time, that again, like I know Rhonda probably keeps an eye on grants as much as possible, but there's a lot that comes through. I mean, there's a lot of money out there right now. It's just, again, who's applying for it, what's your vision, and who's going to follow through, and what's your capacity to deal with it. So
Yep. Perfectly said.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Okay, good. So, any more discussion on that on the table? Board position reappointments.
I'll pass this around here. Anybody have one? Our bylaws, and we do have an opening right now, and then we've got 3 people that their term's ending. Our bylaws say that during the last quarter of each fiscal year, the board of directors shall elect directors to replace those whose terms will expire at the end of the fiscal year. So it's kind of the time of the year to do that. And, because we do have, I guess in 2026 into 2026 is when, what was Michelle's term.
Mm-hmm.
So that one we need to elect for that seat to go
I'm-
through 2026.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alice and Stacy and Rachel are up for reappointment at the end of this year for a new 3-year that, you know, we started with a 1, a 2, and a 3, but from now on, there'll all be 3 years other than that. One is an unexpired term.
And not appointment though, they're elections,
Yeah, that's what,
up for reelection,
yeah.
So I do have.
if they so choose to run.
And not for the officers, but to be on the board.
This is just a seat on the board.
Yeah.
So when we do, we need to decide when we're gonna do elections, and this term that Michelle vacated is gonna be a standalone because it goes through 26.
Yeah, that's a 2-year.
And then these new 3 will be 3-year terms. So that's how we set them up to be
Correct.
staggered.
Those would be ending 27 then.
I have somebody that I'd like to put up for Michelle's spot.
So one other, we talked about a nominating committee. Do you remember that, Rochelle?
Mhm.
A board nominating committee, because that's where that should happen. The nominating committee should discuss and then bring it to the board.
In there, it actually, I thought that it said that the president, the executive board needed to start to ask.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I did.
and
When a
I,
vacancy exists, a nominating committee consisting of the 3 officers will seek out candidates and present them to the board. I guess we haven't met, our nominating committee hasn't met to present to the board.
Is
So
there a
that's
reason-
something we should do.
Well, I mean, like, there's not like we have a plethora of options, or have asked above and beyond anybody that is in business here, because the suggestion has been, hey, bank, do you have somebody to throw to us? And I have been able to do my due diligence and reach out to people who own businesses here. So, I mean, I would, for me, I don't know what the, like what more, I stated in the email to you, I think I talked to Mark about it earlier. Is there an issue with us bringing it up if the nominating committee feels like we can to bring this person to the table today?
no, if your nominating committee has met and
We
you're,
haven't.
okay, so,
But we're all here and present, and I don't think anybody has an issue, is my point. And we've already discussed, I discussed it.
Well, I told you a name I knew of too,
Okay.
so that
Point is,
name
the
should
committee
be.
still needs to meet.
yeah,
should-
so I think that the committee should meet and at the next board meeting, that way we've advertised it to our members who may wanna come and we've covered all the bases.
We've been advertising. Didn't you advertise and say we had a meeting of, or open membership available or spot?
We
That
still need
was
to
a
meet.
while back.
And
But do
when
you
does-
have to be a business, in a business? Can't you just be a citizen to be a member?
Yeah,
Anybody, but I need some local feedback, and that's what I'm missing at this table as a business owner. I'm missing some in-depth feedback on how do we bring people, past our doors. I haven't even discussed, like, we haven't even touched on trucking or logistics or anybody to come my way. I just keep giving feedback out, so, I don't hear anything, and that's why to shake it up a little bit, like, I feel like businesses should be on the front, and if we haven't had a specific person to ask, and we're just asking for people to throw something at the wall, like, that's not, strategically planning for this committee.
so with that position, Michelle's, then you also have 3 positions that are expiring, so they each need to let the board know if they're going to run for re-election or not, because there may be more positions than just the one open. So that's the work of the nominating committee, and then at the next meeting, you present the nominations and then take votes on each seat.
At any point, anybody can fill Michelle's, though.
Well, I just heard that the nominating committee didn't meet, so I think we put these bylaws together, so let's follow them. My suggestion.
I think that's exactly right. When we start not following our own procedures, we are just randomly doing things and not really accomplishing anything. That's what happens.
Do we wanna set up a meeting for the nomination committee right now, so we have?
Yes, we can move forward.
Yeah, and I will, my name is on here and I'm not gonna seek reelection. I'll still be involved, but I've made the decision not to because of my job, so.
And
There'll be-
I won't be seeking re-election either, but I will come to the meetings and volunteer as I always have. I just don't know that I can be at all of them,
So I think we have a tremendous opportunity to bring multiple new people in,
Yeah.
and Melinda might be one of them.
And has Stacy indicated? She hasn't said for sure either, so we should be talking to her.
The nominating committee should reach out to her.
Mhm.
And really, there's no guarantee that you get reelected. It's just, we've always had the problem of not having people up for reelection because somebody that runs for reelection could get beat out by somebody new that wants to be on the board. We've just never had that problem because we're begging people to.
And our bylaws actually say up to 12, but no fewer than 7, so if we should get 5 people, we could probably fit them in. But I agree, we should kind of
It's a
follow the
very large
procedure and
board.
actually meet and discuss.
I'm fine with that. If that recognition was just made like right now that, okay, oh yeah, we were supposed to meet because I have said it several times in several different ways that I had somebody and so did you.
Yeah.
So I don't think that.
But the 3 of us need to sit down
Yeah,
on it.
but that recognition of when we're putting board members up of, hey, this committee needs to meet ahead of the game, you know what I mean? So when we're at this spot, we're like, okay, well, we've talked to this person, and this is who's gonna be hopefully up in the running. A little bit more detail at the table. Okay. I guess we'll set up something soon then.
If we want to even meet after this.
I have time.
You're fine.
I'm good.
Okay. Any more discussion on that? No? Richard, anything? No? Okay.
And you're in planning.
Is that what that is? Okay, the 2024 year-end planning. What do we have for that?
Well, I just figured that we should at least, like we did last year, have a committee, whether it's the exec committee or who, come up with a budget again for the year. And if we wanna, I guess we've had some talks about maybe having a annual member meeting at the end of the year, we should kind of plan what we wanna do there.
Okay. Who wants to be a part of that committee? Anybody?
Well,
Treasurer?
Yeah.
And then I'll be with you then?
Yeah.
On that? Okay.
just the 2 of us, anybody?
And
So
then
this
we'll
is to come up with, a budget for
Yeah.
next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Okay. All right, any more discussion on that? Okay. So I just wanted to give, we got about 2 minutes, but I just wanted to give a quick presentation on AI. I specifically use ChatGPT. Mine is a paid subscription. You can choose whatever you would like for an AI. But ChatGPT has helped me in many ways with my business, all the way from emails to documents to understanding documents to creative strategies to writing proposals, a whole wide spread of things. But today we're just going to touch on something simple, right? I rewrite a lot of my emails because sometimes what comes out of my mouth is not professional and I'm like, here, fix it. So ChatGPT, right? So normally I'll say something like rewrite. Linda is being nosy and I want her to stop bothering me. I will get this is so basic, work done in a time.
Do you ask it to change tone too?
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. Just as something like super basic, right? Linda's being nosy, blah, blah, I want her to get away from me. So I'm gonna send it off.
So is this just chatgpt.com?
Yeah,
And it's a
chatgpt.com.
free
They have a free
program?
one.
Okay.
What I've been learning is if you're gonna pick an AI system, with the way it guides you or directs you, create an email. So it just gave me a bunch of ways that I can, dealing with the nosy coworker like Linda, right, can be challenging, but there are effective strategies to maintain your privacy and focus on your work. Great, create an email telling her. So this is even super basic, like, right, I'm not getting any detail, it doesn't know, and I can feed it like I'm a director of operations, I'm this, I'm that, I'm about to talk to my vendors, it'll give me a lot more. So here it goes. The subject was maintaining professional boundaries. Dear Linda, I hope you're well. I wanted to discuss a matter that's been on my mind. I've noticed that some of our recent conversations have touched on personal topics that I'm not entirely comfortable discussing at work. I value our professional relationship and believe that focusing on work-related subjects will help us maintain a productive environment. Look how sweet that was. Okay, so watch. Nicer. And add a joke. I copy and paste a lot, and I just tell it to rewrite. Sometimes you can copy and paste and put in a response. Google Gmail has its own AI in there. I always go back to ChatGPT. If you're gonna pick an AI, ask it political questions. And if it's gonna direct you or steer you, then that's probably not the AI for you. Somebody used an AI Snapchat or something a while ago and showed me that, and it was all for one person being president and not for the other, and it was sharing that, and so that's kind of how I've learned, I guess, for me and myself on what I want to pick. Here it goes. Dear Linda, I hope you're having a great day. I wanted to touch base about our recent conversations. While I enjoy our interactions, I've noticed that some topics delve into personal areas I'm not entirely comfortable discussing at work. I believe focus on work-related subjects will help us maintain a productive environment. On a lighter note, here's a little joke to brighten your day. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. Thank you for understanding. Best regards. So if you wanted it, funnier, nicer, professional, let's see what it said for more professional email. It'll put it out there for you guys. Anything that you have a question on, like, we could go into economic development, and I'll show you that. Oh, it's browsing right now because I want it to be more professional. And then I gave up a more professional way of telling her. You can say nicer, you can say stricter, you can give whatever. You can say, how do I work as a team with my economic development committee? So now it's going to give me a bunch of ways in which I can work with you guys as a committee. More functioning, more productive. Sometimes it takes a good minute. Foster open communication, engage in diverse stakeholders, develop comprehensive economic, see, it goes on and on and on. Skill sets of like, how long should an email be? Just simple things.
It'll make you a nice agenda.
Yeah, it'll make you a nice agenda. It'll say, am I missing anything? Like, did they give me enough? And you can copy and paste anything that you want to put in here. It'll give any type of feedback.
So if you're writing for a grant and you say this grant's for $100,000, it's a 6-month grant, this is your goal, you can put that in there and it'll give you a format and an outline of everything you would do, and you can just attach it to your grant application.
You could be specific too. You could say, write me a grant for Strength in ND, right?
The one caution is just still to make it your own.
You have to read it. Oh, it'll go on, a different corner, but it will. There's your grant. It tells you your grant programs and services, grant application guideline. It'll give you all of the steps and pieces for the most part of what you have to do. The purpose of me showing this though is so that like any type of etiquette or email expression or documents or how-tos or any type of information you would like to know, you can put it in here. And the more that you customize it to know who you are and what you do, the easier it is to align with previous things that you've asked it to then spit out. So like for myself, it knows I'm a director, it knows I own a trucking company. I just had to write an agreement for a dispatcher that I made manager. I put on all the key things that I wanted to make sure that she had, and then I said, please add more specific detail. It knew about my applications that we have. It knows about the certain sites that I go to and added detail from there. It adds a whole plethora of knowledge right in front of you that is at your fingertips. So I just wanted to encourage anybody, you know, if you feel like you want to tighten up your skills and emails. I use this quite often, so then I get, you know, my own training in my head on how I can rephrase things and do things. If you guys want to dive into this a little bit deeper, I can do another session. If there's anything we want to work off of that we want to use this, I'm totally open. This is such a great tool to help guide anybody that I think that we should definitely, you know, try to utilize it a little bit more.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's about it. That's all that I have. Just a quick real brief of how to use this thing. Copy and paste works amazing. It's free too, but this one is paid. Because I can upload a document in here and say, tell me what this document's about. Like government documents, like it'll read a whole 20-page whatever and give me all the insights of key points of that.
You have your own login though, so it remembers it's you, so it learns about you, right?
Yeah, it learns
But the free
about me.
one doesn't.
I don't know.
Or-
I don't know what it does. I know that I have my own specific chat for myself and my company. So as I keep asking it questions that are specific to that, it bills. So like that one was a new one, but it'll keep your history and your list and stuff to go back to. So, any discussion, any questions on that? No. Alrighty. December 10th is our next meeting.
Excuse me,
I
I have ads.
We're gonna do our open floor. I was just.
These has can bring up to the leader is wondering, I don't have prices yet. If Washburn, I don't know why that page is marked. Washburn Life would like to be in this Kakawea country. We did this ad. And I thought there was another one. I guess this is the ad. Kayla will be getting back to us. And then if we want to do the songbook,
Pause on that. I apologize. Can you send us an email with that ad and maybe what we did previous year? So that way we know.
okay,
But I guess
Are
my
we making a
take on
decision?
this is, we have an advertising budget. As long as we're within the budget, I think you can make a lot of these calls
Okay.
without, especially if it's something, we do always do this, Sakaka, we've done the songbook for the last 2 years,
and
so
then we always
we
would
wouldn't
do
really
the
need to.
Small
Hold on.
Business Saturday section. They're no longer doing the Small Business Saturday section. It'll be called the Holiday Gift Guide. And they have various rates. It'll go in the Central, McLean, and Washburn later. Said sections right in the Central and Southern McLean. And it'll be like small businesses, holiday events, holiday sales. For a full page, which we can do our 3 ads we usually do, is $3.75, and then there would be a little story about Washburn Life. So it's like the full newspaper size. A half a page is $200. So that would be going part under the budget. And
I
So-
agree with Donna that I think it fits in the advertising budget, but on that one, the Washburn Life, you would want the story on Washburn, and our business is not about Washburn Life. Just my input.
because it was just say, we just put like what Washburn Life is about, supporting our businesses and that. So like we'd have this ad, and this one. And if we wanted to, cause I said, do we really need to have this story? Because I thought it would be nice to have more ad space.
Let's promote our businesses, write about our businesses.
What about a shop local? Yeah. Ad for the holidays.
There you go.
Keep in mind, shop local.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to promote our community and the opportunities to spend money here.
We'll send out the proof on ad when you finalize it.
Who's making your ads? Is the paper?
Yes.
Mhm.
But that explanation or whatever it is that you talked about of what Washburn Life is, like, what's her name? Can't think of her name already, Melinda, said something about, we don't know what those 30-somethings think we should have here. So, pointing out that, if there's something you'd like to see in Washburn, get a hold of Washburn Life, so maybe we can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Or even
So
just
which
having
would
like
be
Merry
not
Christmas
exactly
from
saying what we
Washburn.
are, but it would be.
Can
Cause
we do
I
it
really
too?
don't know what 30-somethings really want.
Well, they're not reading the paper, so.
Huh?
They're not reading the paper.
When is this coming out?
Nope.
November 20th is our deadline.
I need to though.
Yeah, I think-
guess.
I think they do something I don't do, Facebook.
Well, and 30-somethings, barely even that, they're on Instagram or Snap.
Mhm.
Very well.
TikTok.
I think both those advertisements though would be great, like a
Yes.
shop local and a hey, please reach out to us if
Yes.
you guys
What
would
would
like
you
to
like
see
to see?
anything. Yeah.
Yep.
I think both of those would be great. Do you have any other advertisements up on deck? Okay. All right, do we have anything, else, open floor?
Who is going to do something with the Sarah's grant? Who is going to look back at what she asked for and how does it fit? Who's doing that?
Rhonda.
That would be Rhonda and Donna. You're on the committee, right, or the person that helps approve them? Yep, and
Okay.
Rhonda's the
That was
initial
just my
contact.
question.
Yeah,
That's all.
oh, to verify it.
Visit on it.
Do you have an objection to that?
No.
Okay. Do you feel like that's out of your scope?
Because
Just wondering, if you didn't wanna be assigned to it, I don't know, I just felt like it was in your scope.
That is.
Well, we
Yeah.
meet with Donna and go over the application
Okay.
and then we could, set up a meeting with Sarah to explain.
Yeah, and then get back to us. Like to cut her that check sooner than later if that's what we come down to, It's hard being in business right now. Okay, open floor? Nothing. All right, upcoming events, November 28th, Community Thanksgiving Dinner, 1 to 3 at the First Lutheran Church. November 30th, Small Business Saturday Vendor at Craft Show, 10 to 3. November 30th, Washburn Bucks promo starts. December 7th is Santa Day. 2025, April 5th, Taste of Washburn. All right, that meeting's coming to order. Thank you.
So, I got a question about the movie nights.
Yeah.
We don't have that in here, Nicholas.
Thank you for coming.
So, is it gonna be one of our promos that we do this, or?
I'd like to have it be part of, like, maybe wrapping up Santa Day or something.
Oh,